Good morning. Good morning, world. Good morning, Restream. Good morning, Instagram. Good morning, Inner Circle. Where are you all? Come over. What are we talking about today? What are we talking about today? We're talking about magnet sensitivity. We're talking about subtle energies. Let me just... We're talking about subtle energies, just toggling, letting people in, whatnot. So, I'm Cynthia Harrison, aka Simran Ishnan. If you are part of the House of Unconditional Love, that is the Ministry of Unconditional Love. This is the your on demand, your live on demand, the first 3 Tuesdays of the month. And this is the second Tuesday of the month. No, it's the first. It's the first Tuesday of the month. It's the 4th. All right. We had a short month. It throws us out because it's not real, people. It is not real. Did you go out and look at the moon and the planets? I went out last night. Oh my goodness, so amazing. The skies here. So can you see the sky where you are? Can you? Yeah. Well, I'm in Hawaii, but I'm obviously, well, I say obviously, I feel like I might still have an accent. People say. No, I haven't. I'm not the one with the accent. So the Australian skies are pretty awesome as well, being able to see the Milky Way and whatnot. So went out and had a look. So, you know, looking at the moon and the moon phases, if you're in rhythm with them or not, whether you want to be in rhythm with them or not, you may not want to. I'm just going to get the chat up for everywhere. So you can, if you're watching from one of the other platforms, you can make a comment and I can see it from wherever you are watching from. Okay? And obviously, if you're in the Zoom Inner Circle, you can put your comments or quandaries, contemplations in there. Is that a bless you? All right. So today, some of you I've spoken to through the week, last week, and I may have said that I would bring certain information in. So if you recall something in particular, you can put it in the chat. Good morning, and the sky was awesome, Lisa says. Woo, woo. Yes, so awesome. So those of you that, do you remember last month? Remember last month where we were in the new moon? The new moon, and we did the weaving, the intention. You can do that every month. So either with 2, we just used 2. We're doing like roping, right? And I made some an appropriate lay for where I am using the tea leaf, the tea tree. Okay, but this month, and I didn't share it with you, but those of you that were on last week when I was in the red, I had the red. I was wearing, actually I might have it here. Where did I put it? It might be in the other room. But I was wearing my copper, oh here it is. I was wearing my copper 8, my copper infinity here. And the red thread that I had on it was this month's intention that I had woven. I didn't mention it because, you know, I just do things. But now I'm mentioning it because maybe, sorry if I'm looking here, I'm looking at the Zoom, but I'll try and include you all. So talk to me and I'll include you even more. So this is a great sort of segue into why we are showing up here. And let me just see if I can find the email that I put out. Probably not, but it was something to do with, oh, here we go. What did I call it? Magnetic energy and alignment. Magnetic energy and alignment. Sometimes I just whip out a name, but it was more to do with what I've been experiencing in the field. This field, the inner field, the outer field, in relation to the energetics. And I was going to say, it was pretty full on. But then it's always like that. Not necessarily full on or full off, but it's the energy is energy. It's not created or destroyed. It just shifts and changes and transforms. So everything that, years ago when I started first teaching subliminal stress, the invisible shadow, right, which links to what I'm going to share today. People were, it was when the 5G was coming in and all that, people were really protesting and getting involved and, fair enough, right? Choose your battles. But I was teaching and sharing about those energetics, but behind that, I was saying, it's always been here. It just transformed. And it's transformed many times since then, right? Because that was maybe 5 years ago, maybe 6 years ago, 5 years ago, something like that. And I went around teaching live, testing people's energy, showing them how their fields were shifting and changing in human evolution. So over the last few weeks, I've noticed in my, it's funny, not funny, I'm wearing my canary. I was going to say I'm the canary in the coal mine. I very rarely wear yellow, right? I have my yellow moo on. Oh. And I was going to say canary in the coal mine, meaning that I do pick up, I get information. Everything is just data information, but it's whether you're able to dance with it. Right? Well, you were all able to dance with it. I was just looking at you and going, thinking about singing, right? And everyone can sing. Well, okay, most people can sing. Because, some people might have, but even if you've lost your voice box and whatnot, you can maybe make sound, or whatever. Make sound. Let's just say everybody can make sound. How about that? Oh, I'm right on the words. I've been doing all these quotes. Have you seen some of my quotes? I have hundreds of them. I spent yesterday, I was supposed to write my thesis. I didn't. I wrote quotes. Over 200. About 100 and something for unconditional love, for the ministry, and over 100, maybe even 150 or so for Academy of Conscious Evolution, and consciousness and whatnot. So you will start to get these, and I was reading through them, and can you imagine? I don't know if you know me. I was reading through, and I was going, oh, okay. It sounds right. This is the thing with the language. It's like, it sounds right, but the way we're languaging how we are in the world can be so we can sort of get away with some things. You hear me? And sometimes even I'm reading through that, I'm going, does it really matter? Well, you know, how's the ego going to take? The ego will take everything that we say, everything that we do, and judge it, right? And that's neither right or wrong. That was the teaching on Sunday, right? Wrong. Both and. So looking at the language and the feel of, or the frequency of the word, or the letters on the page. What's the meaning? I'm a meaning maker. I have a background in anthropology, right? Meaning making. What cultures, what are the beliefs and conditioning patterns of different peoples in the world, right? Meaning making. How do we make meaning? So you might see these little quotes, and there's a whole lot of stuff that went into that. There's a couple that I let through to the keeper, as we say in Australia with cricket, because, you know, it's like there's no right or wrong. It's just where you are in how you want to live. What you're accepting and not accepting as your life, right? Wrong. I'm going to say that all the time now. I say it a lot, right? Oh, both and. All right, so the language. So going back to this 8. Why I was wearing it. Because the energy here, well, there's so much I want to tell you, and there's no way I can possibly share it all today. So we're just going to touch in on it and give you an idea of, this isn't just for now. The winds are just starting to pick up. This isn't just for now, but I've noticed, and with all the planetary alignment since Friday, all the planets are in alignment, right? Yes. No. Maybe. That's what they tell us. But you go out and have a look. The energy before that was really picking up. And so back to the canary. See, I go round. I'm circular. The canary in the coal mine. I was picking it up before it all happened. Now, we could say, yes, it's because of the shifts, the galactic or the planetary shifts. What's the ionosphere doing, or the layers, the magnetosphere, the layers of the Earth doing, right? The Earth's aura. What is this place doing? And I don't know if you know this, but where I'm sitting is between 2 ley lines. I'm very close to the, like this. So they're either side of me like this. And I can see the main vortex or vortices, because I can see I can see Maui from here. I can see top of Mauna Kea from here, the highest point on the planet, which is a major vortex, right? Sacred site. Usually where the vortices are is where energies cross, and they're power spots in the world. So as a gatekeeper, I lived in Australia, and I was doing, this is mystical, just put it there if you're not sure what I'm talking about. You know, being in Australia and as a gatekeeper, and then coming here, marrying the gatekeeper here. So the merging of those energies. So trying to get to the reason why we're here is such a long story, but just to condense it, I was looking at a property, and every time I walked close to certain parts of that property, I felt like it's going to pass out. And it was familiar to me. So I was like, whoa, what's going on? And there was 3 things that popped up. So any of you that are intuitive and have been for a long time, you know, when you feel a certain thing, it could be this, or the, you have a certain like little toolbox to go, when I feel this, it can mean these sorts of things from my observation over my particular lifetime. This is what it tends to mean for me. It's like doing a reading, and then you might test it. So the first time that happened, I'm like, yeah, because Australian, it's all, she'll be right, it's unless it becomes an issue, we don't care. Okay, so I'm there and I'm looking around, I'm like, maybe someone died here, because I also feel it felt the same way. So there's the three ways that this felt like was that I had no filtration system, right? So my aura wasn't filtrating. So you might want to call it protection. I'm not into protection as such, okay, because it brings in the fear. It's just, okay, the system wasn't doing what it needs to do as well. It's like your fish tank. Is it filtrating the water well enough, or is it blocked and needs to be cleaned out? I was contemplating that with my new little friends. Do they need a filter? Because they're just in my lotus pond. Do they need more filtration? Anyway, I'm going off on my stories. Has someone died there or been injured there? There's I feel when they die, it's a lot of fear in the field. It feels the same. So back in the day, or maybe in my early 30s, I know you thought I was 30, didn't you? But no. I was saying that to my a friend that came over the other day. I was telling him how old my daughter was, and I said, "You thought I was that age, didn't you?" Anyway, and feeling into that energy, and it's the same. If somebody was injured there, there was a lot of fear there, a lot of pain, suffering, and death. They all feel the same to me, or similar. Okay, so you walk through a space. You can also, so the magnetic lines or water running under the ground. So in Africa, I used to water douse with my hands. Like you can walk along, and when you know what, you're sensitive enough, most people can do it, but you'll feel the shift and change. Okay, so there's all these different things. What is it? What is it all? It's just information. It's just data that your nervous system is trying or attempting to navigate, find the meaning of. Are you in danger or are you not? Right? Positive mind, negative mind. A yes or a no. A right or a wrong. And then we'll judge it. So when you walk in the world observing and being curious about everything, right? And just holding it gently. So I went to this place, I felt all of this, and I was like, oh, I think I'm going to throw up. And I just sucked it in, like did a breath and went, let's just keep moving. Not, you're going to get out of here. Right? I'm not going there again. Which is what a lot of you do. Not necessarily you that I'm looking at, but a lot of people do. Or you meet somebody and you feel that, and you're like, oh, there's something wrong with them. Right? Come on. How many have you? Yeah, come on. We've all done it. Or, oh my goodness, I love that person. I think I'm in love. Like, because the energy is so like, woo! And you're interpreting it as, oh. Right? Or wrong? Yin, yang. North, south. Okay, Okay, so north-south of a magnet. So the last piece of this that I'm going to say is that the other feeling sensation that I feel in that same way is when I'm magnet sensitive. Da 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 da, that's what we're here to talk about. Magnet sensitivity. If your system, if your little magnificent human is magnet sensitive, then when you go on certain land or near certain people or near certain, if you are magnet sensitive sitting in front of, I've got main computer, my laptop, phone, another phone, fan going, the 2 lights going, you know what I mean, a lot of stuff. You would be very ill, like you would feel horrific. Or you'd get very tired. Very tired. Or put in the chat how else you might feel if you know that you have sensitivities. You may not have understood it as magnetic sensitivities. I'm going to explain a little bit about what magnetic sensitivity is, but just put in the chat if you identify as being sensitive, like you can pick up on certain things. Oh, I just felt an energy shift. Anyway, we'll carry on. It's like something and maybe it was you thinking, right? Were you thinking? And I felt you thinking. Right? This is why when I speak and I pull up on words, it's because I feel that energy of whether it's in alignment or not. So imagine if your whole system was out of alignment, meaning if you are a magnet, which you are, north at the head, south at the feet, like a magnet, north and south, okay, like this. But you're also a magnet this way, right, south and north, and this way, south and north, right, left, right, back, front, top, bottom. I don't know if you picked up on Sunday, you can go back and watch the replay for the House of Unconditional Love. We talked about wrongdoing, right doing, and how when you look at something as right or wrong and you criticize it or judge it, you're not looking at the top, bottom, left, right, front, back. As a trauma therapist, that's how I work with the nervous system and the brain, not just top and bottom processing, not just left and right processing, not just front back processing, but whole brain processing. When I work with your energies, I'm looking at whole body, right? When I'm looking at what the truth or untruth is, I'm looking at all the angles. What's the perspective that you're looking at something from? So anyway, this will just give those of you, because I know some of you were watching that and I mentioned it, but in relation to our physical body and our energetics, which are part of our body, part of our human, stress will impact your aura, your individual field. It will either detach it for those that are very sensitive, and these are all things that we can test, right? So I'm not going to go into the testing, but if you want me to on another live, or you're more interested, contact me. If you were really struggling and having some issues, right? Some of us, this goes to sensitivity styles. See, it's really difficult when I start to speak about something that goes into all these other things, because there's no separation, it's all connected. But in a nutshell, there's sensitivity styles. So depending on what sensitivity style or what stress style you have, will depend where you are more likely to get a vortex in your body. So the type of sensitivity or stress style that I have, I tend to go out at the heart. There's a vortex at the heart. Now, when that happens, it will detach the aura, the infiltrating, filtrating system for my personal system here. We also have it at the solar plexus. Those of you that are visuals will have, can have vortices at the, like little whirlpools on the eyes, the throat. There's different places depending on what you are. Majority of you, if you're watching here, I wouldn't be surprised if you're similar, right? Because I'm a sensitive because of how I'm built. I'm extra sensitive because of how I'm built, but still human, and others will just get their sensitivities in a slightly different way. But this pertains to all humans. It's just that mine went out here because that's my stress style, right? So you might have had a similar stress and went out at, your eyes, your throat, solar plexus, different places. Why is that important? Because what it does is it disrupts how the aura is attaching to my body and through it. So there's almost like, we say a detachment, but it's more that, see, it's the language again. So we're just going to say that it's like it detaches, it comes away from. So my aura can be huge, and it is. I mean, the neighbors probably feel it, way out there. Right? That's like a forward scout, like a sniffer dog. So I know what's going on way out in the field, right? Wherever. And the energy that's out there around what's going on for you and whatnot. So if you're thinking or you're having a little cognitive dissonance there, I'll feel it in my brain when I'm not attached well. You might think, oh, that's awesome. Yeah, it is. It is. But you don't want to be bombarded with information so that you can't hear or feel your own stuff. So this is why this is important. Because when you're aligned and practiced, you can still get all of that information, but when you want it, how you want it. Do you see? So I will say, if with your permission, oh, what's going on for you? I'll get all the information. When I'm not attached and I'm magnet sensitive, right? So the magnet sensitivity can throw the aura out. So let me get to that in a moment. I'll speed it up a bit. We'll throw, that's a stress to the system because there's so much information coming in. I can't decide and be the director of my life and say, yes, open me up to all the world's information right now. It's just coming at me 24/7, right? And if your energies and your grounding, your earthing, and your nervous system, you haven't been consciously working with it, it will knock you off your feet. See, when I said at the beginning, I felt like I was going to pass out, but I didn't. And how I came out of that. Do you see what I mean? It's like some of you may have thrown up or been sick for the rest of the week, right? So this is it's about, okay, navigating that or going into fear of fear or fear of love and spiraling, and that creates illness and other symptoms. So come back around. So I'm at this place, this happens, and I came back home and I was still feeling it. I was still like, whoa. And then I walked towards, this was the next day. or a few days later, we went back again, and it was worse. And it was in 3 different parts of the house, of the place. And so, you know, our human mind wants to know things. So I was just sitting with it in curiosity, going, oh yeah, what made me do something more, inquire, look at it, was because I had a remembrance. I remembered that because probably most of my life I was magnet sensitive. You know, I'll go into that. I haven't forgotten. Meaning that just hypersensitive. And it was because my field was so broad, but it was not filtrating as well as it could. Because I lead with the heart, right? I'm, you know, it's, we call it a kinesthetic. It's about, you know, there's empathy and there's being an empath. And we get caught up on these words, but it just means that you feel a lot, right? And emotionally, and you'll feel other people's, right? Not just you can understand how they feel, but you literally feel what they're feeling. That's why I was good as a medical intuitive. Why? Because I could feel what was going on in your body. And I could track, you know what I mean? Like I can then, right, I sit next to you and I start to feel your pain and your suffering and whatnot, right? Now, if you didn't know that, what a life. And most of my life, I didn't know that. And I joke, I was like a hypochondriac. Then none of it was mine. We'd go to the doctor and there'd be nothing wrong, but I'd be in so much emotional and physical pain. It's like, so I just learned to live with it. It was like, you know, whatever. Later in life, I realized what was going on. So now this remembrance was from back then. I'm like, and that's so many years ago, because I've been working and teaching energy for what, 20 years? So I had to remember how I was before I got that strength in my energetics. And so it was like, whoa. And it had to hit me in the face, because it was just a little wobble. I'd be like, yeah, whatever, move on. Do you see? Because I don't worry about things. You know, I know my system's pretty good and it will just realign itself because of my lifestyle and whatnot. But this, you know, I come back to the house and I was still feeling bleh, and I was tired. It just felt like I just was completely emptied, but not in the way that, like, emptied of energy, right? I just wanted to sleep. I'm like, this isn't, what's going on? So I said, did someone die there? No. I asked a few questions, you know, trying not to go into, you know, just being with it. And then I let it go. And then it was the next time I went, it was these other places. And I was like, there is something going on with this place. Is this on the ley line? Are we actually on the ley line? Right? The father line. Because I knew we weren't on the mother line, right? But we were so close to the father line. Are we? Is that place closer to the father line? And it's sort of the angle. I actually yesterday ended up researching it, because the energies are so like palpable and whatnot, and with the planetary stuff and just the way the world's going and the earth's trying to find her north, you know, what she's doing, all of these energies added to your everyday life and the general stressors in your everyday life, how that throws you out. So I come home after that second time and I walked into the kitchen and started, you know, going, okay, what are we going to have for dinner and whatnot. And I walked near the stove and the same thing happened. Not as bad, It's similar. And I was like, whoa. And I walked out of the kitchen because I'm a researcher, right? So I walked out of the kitchen and I was like, oh, okay, it's not so bad. Walked back in the kitchen and I was like, so, appliances, electrical appliances, gas appliances. In the house, when I went near taps, it happened. Water. So there are all of these things swirling around, and what did my mind go? Remembrance, because this is what our nervous system does. It will bring in past beliefs and conditionings or traumas or difficulties, right? To go, yes, no, right, wrong, run, hide, freeze, feign death, whatever. So that's how the remembrance came in. What's my energy doing? So I tested, and I got Eric to, so I tested my energy. I was strong. And when he came, I gave him a magnet. I said, spin it from way out, over the other side of the room. And I said, now walk towards me spinning the magnet. And when he got about, 2 meters away. Do you know meters? I get confused because we're all different countries, right? 2 meters away. The length of a normal doorway, right? About that far away. Testing, went weak. Meaning that when a magnet that's spinning, a movement, so even this fan, so electrical appliances have magnets in it, like how a motor works. There's magnetism in there, right? So when you go near them and that energy's spinning, it makes your body weak. And I was like, damn, knew it, right? Because I haven't been magnet sensitive for, 15 years, maybe more. I don't know. Maybe that's a lie. Time's not a big thing for me. So there's a whole big story to that. I'll tell you another day, because my dad is a magnetism expert in the world. He's wrote books on, you can't get the books because they were military things and whatnot. So, right? So I'm picking up things in a whole different way. So I wanted to share this with you because there are things that will happen in your life. There are things that you have no control over, like what's happening in the field, in the world, in the skies, what the planets are doing, what the pulse of the earth, the Schumann resonance, is doing. Different times where there's a lot of energy, and whether you see that as great or unrest. And it can throw your systems out. And you will have no understanding of it. How many of you have heard about being magnet sensitive? If not from me. So you've probably heard it from me, but, out there. So often we'll use a magnet, so I can do it now because I've aligned to myself, right? But I had to do it a few times. So you think that you can do something once and you're good. You may not be. It depends how your energy, how your physical and your energetic, your subtle energy systems are able to navigate what's happening in your world, in your field right now. And building the capacity, be the capacitor, right? how your nervous system needs to stretch, needs to shift to, this isn't going to kill me. Sit in the discomfort, be curious about the discomfort. What is it showing me? And I chose to see it as, an opportunity to share more about these energies, because I haven't taught energy medicine per se for a while, other than to the inner circle, right? So, how we correct magnet sensitivity. So there's lots of ways to test it, but if you don't know how to test your own energies, then it's redundant. So I guess those of you who know, maybe we'll go into this in the inner circle, but part of for me being magnet sensitive was that my aura was detaching from here. So all of you, whether you test it or not, you can just do a very slow figure 8 over your thymus. So chest, over your thymus, right? An infinite sign or infinity sign, right? Over your thymus. If you're extremely sensitive, go very, very slow. If somebody comes into your field and does that, and it makes you feel a bit like, whoa, you've got nothing filtrating the information coming in and out here. This is why I wore my figure 8 there, because I was doing work on all of this technology, plus I was connecting in with other people's energy. I had to make sure that I was strong and I wasn't going out. And I wasn't, because I took directorship, took control of my own health and wellness, and continued to do my energy, my grounding, my earthing, my vortices, right? And for magnet sensitivity, it's a bit more complex. But what I'm going to say to you, I'm going to just share it. If you think that you are, we can go deeper into it, but I'm just looking at the time. So this is why I don't recommend you using magnets, because many of you may be magnet sensitive. And so if you bring a magnet and spin it in your field, it's going to make you weak. It's going to disrupt your system. We recommend using cut glass or cut crystal, right? And these are really cheap. Can you see it? These are really cheap. They don't cost much. You could do all the energies pretty much that a magnet can do with this. So I used this, funnily enough, we talked about it, didn't we, Emma? The other day, you said something about a cut glass, and I hadn't even used this for, I don't know, for so long. But it is in my first aid kit, right? My energy first aid kit. My energy first aid kit has a stainless steel spoon. So let's get into how you can correct your energies. A stainless steel spoon. Often you'll see me, if you're regular here, using a stainless steel cup. Why do I use the cup? The spoons in America, or here anyway, in Hawaii, are not the ones we have stainless steel. But this little measuring cup is. So now it lives in my first aid kit. This is a spoon from Australia. And it's in my first aid kit, so I brought it over from Australia, right? I have selenite. I have the cut glass, and I have my magnets. I have a couple. I've actually got 3. So there's many ways that you can work with the magnets. I'm not going to go into that today because you need to know whether you're able to use them or not. And I'll just do a caveat here. Many of you would use crystals of some description. How many of you use crystals or have crystals in your home, or have different crystals, amethyst, quartz, all sorts of stuff, right? Have you ever thought to test whether your energy can handle that crystal? Because it's the same thing. If you put people who are very sensitive, there's only ever, I'm thinking in my clinic time, the people that have been not able to even use the crystal have had things like the big C, right? Or something, a chronic, very long-term chronic illness. Okay? So, we can test even this in the field. And if you go, your energy is not able to manage the movement, then we can use selenite, but why do I always teach with my hands? Because you can all handle the polarity of the hand, right? North, south. North, south. The energy of the hand. So let's start off with that real mini. So if you're watching, I invite you to do it if you do any of my classes. Then you should have your mini first aid kit around. So do your feet. So you would find it doesn't have to be a spoon or a cup, something stainless steel, but the spoons, if you find old salad servers, the big spoons, you can even put them under your desk if you're on the computer a lot and just rest your feet on it, or under the coffee table or whatever, stones, river stones are good too. Selenite is good to put your feet on. Often if you're having a lot of trouble or you've got pain in the body, you can put selenite at the bottom of your foot in a sock and sleep with it. When I sliced my hand open, I did the same. I put a sock on my hand and had the selenite in my hand, and helps heal really quickly. Takes a lot of the throbbing pain away from those sorts of injuries, but obviously don't put it onto an open wound or a seeping wound or something like that. Same with a magnet. You would spin it or do the movement over the energy. Anyway, I can't teach you how to do it in this amount of time. We'd have to do a specific one. But this is what we can do right now that will help you with your earthing. So this is my foot, okay? On the sole of your foot, you're going to rub the spoon. Okay? You can do figure eights if you want, whatever feels good. Actually, that feels really good on my hands. So I'm going to do my feet. So that's to prepare your grounding. Your grounding. Just how your energy is navigating the shift of north-south that the earth is sometimes doing, this dance, right? Where the pole's going to sort of land. The energy is sort of sometimes doing this, but it's flipping. So that's what the spoon is for, because stainless steel helps the connection through a particular, the nerve endings of the feet, toes, the feet. Anyway, do it. If you yawn, that's a good thing. I just saw somebody yawn. So do your feet just for, I don't know, a minute, 30 seconds. If you've really got if you've got pain in your ankles, your feet, whatnot, legs, hips, sometimes even when you get headaches and stuff like that, right? The dizziness and whatnot. Are you connected? Right? That's just the basic energy of grounding. Then we've got the polarity at the feet, which is the flipping that you've seen me do. Now, you could do that with a magnet, but like I said, if you're magnet sensitive, it's going to impact you. So you need to know. If you know, I mean, it's beautiful to know how to use magnets, but you've got to know how to use it because it can grow things that you want to shrink, or vice versa. Do you see what I'm saying? One energy pushes, one energy pulls. So you want to be pulling the pain away rather than pushing it in. You don't want to grow something. You might want to shrink it. So you need to know. I'm just making that statement. And maybe if you do want to know, we can do a little, we can actually go deeper into it, okay? About magnets, how to use a magnet, what magnet, where to get them, all that sort of stuff. So these, if you can get one of these, awesome. If not, use your hand. So we're flipping three or four times on the bottom of each foot. Why? Because the bottom of the feet need to connect. It's like the nostrils of the body, right? The big earth nostrils, right? There's nostrils, or there's the kidney one point, right? The kidney meridian ends at the ball of the foot. And through the feet, energetically, we're doing this. It's like a nostril, breathing in and out. So we're pulling up energy from the earth up into our body, right? And then breathing it out back into the earth. So that's the lower vortex, right? The earth vortex. And then we've got the heaven vortex. It does the same through the head, right? But most of you, we're dealing with this connection to the earth, or how we're connecting to the earth. So do that. So spoon, then flip the feet to get the polarity right, because sometimes your feet will be, so these are two, right? North, north, right? North, south, then one might flip. And so instead of pulling the energy up, it's only pushing it. It's not doing both, because it's, so am I confusing you? It's like you've got a north-south of a magnet, and if the polarity flips, it will be south-north. But if it gets frozen, it might be north-north or south-south. There's no polarity. Right? So it's not just, think of it like there's no engine doing this. This is the earth. You're doing this dance, right? And that means that you're working symbiotically, working together. There's your aura's protecting, your field's protecting, and the earth's field is dancing with all of that, okay? So the next bit is the vortex revival, which we talked about. So if those, now you've cleared those nostrils of the feet, let's call them, it's the kidney meridian, but where it's sucking and pulling up. If they've been blocked or flipped or frozen, then that energy isn't pulling up to meet the heaven or the father. So the mother vortex or the earth vortex meets the father or the heaven vortex, which meet together and create that what we're going to do is for women, let me know if there's any men. And I'm just going men, women right now because it's the energy, right? So I would have to test what you know, if there's anything in between, right? Those polarities, right? North, south, male, female. Okay, so a woman would put her hand, so I'm going to use my left hand. Some of you know this, that's revision, but you're going left shoulder around to the right shoulder, back to the body, to the left, and back around. We're doing circles, so it's clockwise, like there's a clock face underneath, right? You're going to do just spinning, and your intention is that you're working the vortex at the feet, right? That vortex is coming up through the feet, and you're bringing it up, because if it's been blocked, it's not going to be coming up the body, and that's going to create different impacts, different symptoms, right? So just do that. If you're more masculine energy, I want you to put your right hand up. So all of you can do it. You can try it, right? The difference. Put your right hand up, and you're going to do the opposite. You're going to go from right around to the left, back to the body, back to the right, and you're doing a counterclockwise turn with the palm facing up. And just notice the very subtleties of what that feels like, right? I could feel it a bit in my head, but I don't know, am I feeling you, or am I feeling that? So, you know, so you can do both. And it's nice to do both every now and then. But first of all, I would do what one you need for your energy, right? So, you know, if you identify as more feminine, right? Woman, feminine energy, you know, feminine body, go clockwise. And if you're more masculine in a masculine body, go counterclockwise with the palm up. If you want to try both, because we are both, you can do one palm up, one palm down. Have I lost you? Yeah. So just do the one that you need. Palm down for women, palm up and counter for men, or you want to try both. It just means if a man's really masculine and they want a little more femininity, they could do the feminine one, and vice versa. Do you see what I'm saying? Because it's the energy of the masculine and feminine energies, right? Not of the human, of these vortices. So just notice how that was, where you felt it. If you're ever doing that vortex and you feel a lot of pressure in the head, keep going to move it through. It's often because if you're bringing energy up, all the other energy is sort of moving, and you can sort of feel. You can bring the energy down a little bit if you do feel that, or you could just know that that's what's happening and it's okay, right? And it shouldn't last very long. So where are we up to? So we've done the vortex. If you are energy sensitive, magnetic sensitive, there are a whole bunch of things that you could do. I don't know if we want to go through them now. I could take you through a couple. The main one that I do is, it's simple. So if you do have, so this is for people who already know. If you want to know more, because I know I'm talking about things you may not have learned, so contact me, right? But those of you that have this, So those in the inner circle. And if you don't have this, you could use your hand. It's a bit of a, I mean, it takes some time. So there is the meridian flow wheel or clock. You can just Google it, right? So I'm looking at the inner circle right now. You know the meridian clock, we've worked with it, where there's each meridian has a particular time that it comes on. So we go to that time and we start at that meridian. And what we're doing, and this is all you have to really remember, is where, for instance, if I was on stomach time, the stomach meridian starts just under the eye, right under the eye, bottom eyelid, and it goes around to the head, all the way down, and then down the body off the second toe. Why I'm bringing up stomach is because the second toe has the conduit, the energy conduit that goes into the earth. It's like a secondary earthing. And often the stomach meridian will be off, right? And you may even get sore. That was another one of my identifiers, is that this is how sensitive I was. When I would lay at night in bed, the sheet was hurting my toe. It felt almost like it was burning or something. And I was like, oh my, no, it's shot, right? Not shot, but you know, it's saying there's something going on. But I already knew because of what I told you. But that was one of the symptoms, because that energy was out. So you would go to the beginning point of the meridian and you would just twirl the crystal, the cut crystal. Or if you don't have a crystal, your fingers. So I'm just opening and closing because that side is north of the magnet and that side is south of the magnet, right? Or you could do this. It just depends where it is. I find that more, so you could do them both at the same time, right? And, you know, 3 or 4 times, just depends. Like if you're twisting, you'll feel it. You may even feel it when you do this. Some you'll do quicker than others. And then you would go to the end point. So this is the beginning point of the meridian and then the end point of the meridian. And you would do the same. You'd either twist this or you would do this over the second toenail. Right? You've got your big toe and then the next toe is the second toe. Okay? Now, you would go around the whole, for every meridian, doing the beginning point and the end point, roughly. Okay? And that is, it takes a little bit of time. I haven't fully, maybe give yourself 10 minutes. Now that may be too much for you, or you don't have the tools, right? So there are other things for like helping your energies when they're feeling scrambled, right? So there's something called the Wayne Cook. So we've done the spooning of the bottom of the feet. That's one way. We've done the beginning and ending point with the crystal or the cut glass. You can do the Celtic weave. So I'll show you the Celtic weave. So you'd be standing up, you rub your hands together, you bring them to the ears, and then you bring your elbows together and you cross over, right? And then you bring your hands back in and you bring them lower, across the chest. And then you turn your hands right? And then you bring them down lower. And so if you were standing up, I'll see if I can stand up. You can see on Instagram, but here I don't have anywhere to move the chair, I guess, right? And you keep going. And then you go a bit lower, right? Right down to the feet. And you're crossing over. And when you get to the feet, you scoop that energy up, right? You're scooping the energy up, okay? And you're letting it just fall down. You can do some figure eights in the, right? Do some figure eight. I generally do figure eights all the way, and you can do some at the back, some at the sides, whatever. So basically, that is helping the aura, but it's doing all these eights in the field, right? Because there's the Celtic weave is literally an energetic field that crosses over. It's like the field of the Taurus, and there's all the crossing over the lines. Does that make sense? Can't show you right now, but there's crossing over of the lines that make up the field, right? All these crossover lines, right? So where they cross over, it's like this. There's crossover there. So we're almost like if it was, I was going to say clay, you know, when you're just smoothing out the clay. But the important thing is that when you get out there, you're turning your hands, right? You're turning your hands and pushing it out, and then you're turning your hands, you can't see me, and bringing the energy back in. So that's the polarity. You see, you're doing that, and then you're doing that. You're doing that, and then you're doing that. Do you understand? Give me a nod. Yeah? Because if you understand, then the others will understand. Okay, so you're just doing that, down, standing up, down the field. So you can give it a go right now, and then if you've got any questions, you can ask me. Right? Do it and see how you feel. That was one of my go-tos back in the day. I haven't used it for a while, but that's one. The zip up. So the zip up is another one. Let me see, I didn't plan on showing you all these, but I realized I can't really teach you the full on. So the zip up, you've got a central vessel that goes from your groin up to inside the bottom of your mouth, right? And so that central vessel protects, is a another field that supports where all your organs are, right? So if I unzip you, you're going to, meaning disconnect this or run it backwards, you will test weak. So in a biofeedback or many other ways of testing it, you test weak, right? So right now, bring your hands just like this at the groin and bring it up. And so this is how I do it. But if you can't do this, you know, walking around, or if you're out and about, or if you're feeling a bit wobbly and you're in your car, you're about to go into the shop or whatever, right? You can just do the zip up, like do it 3 times and then just do a little figure 8. Or you can do, and I've tested this through the biofield viewer with clients, and you can see their field change. It brightens, right? I have a video on it on I don't know if it was Instagram or Facebook, of one of my clients doing it, and I videoed her through the biofield viewer. But you can go up and then do a heart, big heart back round to the groin, come up, back round to the groin, come up, back round to the groin, and then just do a little figure 8 there. Okay. Connecting heaven, the hookup. The hookup was another one. So this is how I got shown, or so when I say shown, it's like something will come in, like what I've just been talking about. And the night after all of that first happened, my nose was really itchy and I couldn't itch it. It was like, like the tip of my nose was just, I couldn't itch it. It was so annoying. And I went, oh, that's the test for the hookup. So the hookup is that central vessel, and it meets inside the mouth with the governing vessel, which goes from the perineum, right, between your sex organs, up the back, over the head, and into the mouth, up the back of the throat. And those two energies meet and hook up and create this figure 8 energy within the body, the whole torso, sideways, right? So here I am, I'm like, oh, what's going on? I wasn't, so whatever was happening over in the place that I was, right, with all the other energies that were going on, had shifted everything. And it was like, oh, okay. So the hookup is purely your middle finger, your 2 middle fingers. I'm going to do it like this so you don't think I'm flipping you off. You put one in your navel. If you don't have one, your belly button, put it where it would be. If you did have one, lots of people don't have belly buttons. I found out doing this work, right? So you push it in and pull it up. Not so it hurts, but just so you've got a little. So actually on Instagram, you can see more of my body. So maybe you could go and watch the Instagram one if you're watching from one of the Facebook places. The other middle finger, you're going to put between or just above the mid-brow, and you're going to push in and pull up for both of them and have a breath. And you just hold for a minute or so. And this will hook up those energies. So that that whole flow system is working. Okay. And you can, after a while, sometimes I just put a hand on both. There are other hookups that you can do, but this is the main one. So there's a couple of energies, but the main ones are the ones we started with: spooning the feet with a stainless steel spoon, doing the actual points on the feet, doing the polarity for each foot, so that they're pushing and pulling the energy that will give you that really good anchoring. The vortex revival, which is if those energies have been out, and even if they haven't, because it's just, a nice little routine to do, it helps that energy pull up to meet. So the heaven and earth vortices meet and are working. And it does link to the microcosmic orbit that's around your body and all these other beautiful energetics that we need to be strong and vital and well in the world, right? And then there was the, if you're feeling a lot, or you generally get a lot of sensitivities, like you just are really hypersensitive. Anyone who is having so much trouble in the world, right, and they can't work it out, and they go next to things and they're just like, whoa, it's like you just can't manage the information and the energy in the world. You're more likely than not magnet sensitive. And even just doing the figure eight or the infinite sign, you know, sideways figure eight, at the higher soul heart, your thymus, will make sure that that connection of your aura at that heart vortex, let's say, is strong. And a lot of pretty much empaths will have that at some point, just over all the years in clinic time and whatnot, and for myself. So, you know, I would walk into I remember when I first realized I was magnet sensitive, I was in New South Wales, and so in Sydney, and we were doing energy medicine retreat type thing, and there was some ladies in the room early in the morning, and they were spinning magnets. And I went to walk. It was a huge room, like a big complex. And I walked into the main room, which was fine. And just as I was on my way into the next room that they were in, and they were way, you know, it was a huge room. And it was like I walked into an invisible wall. It was like I was walking and I just went bam, like, whoa. And I was with a friend and I was like, what is going on? And then I went and had a look in the room, and they're all doing, you know, talking about magnets. And that's how I started to learn about the energy of a magnet and what it can do for us to heal us, but also how it impacts us. So there's so much information. Maybe we should do, I don't know, if people are interested and they want to do, I haven't thought about this, but if you wanted to learn about magnets and magnet sensitivity and whatnot. Hey, Deb just came on as we're ending. Talking about magnet sensitivity. She knows all about magnets. If you want that, I can put something together. Yeah, no worries. I just hadn't thought about it until it happened to me, because I haven't had this for many years. So, like I said, I'm the canary. I'm in my yellow. I've even got wings. On here, it's not as bright, but on Instagram, you can see the proper color, because I don't know why, the lighting or something. I was drawn to your magnetic personality. Well, I'm back, Deb. I'm back. My energies are now. I was actually saying that as I was. We got this old hot tub, but it's so cool because the new ones aren't so great. Anyway, it's been out of order for ages. We had to. So Eric was tinkering and put the new motor thing in it, and he's trying to fix it one day. Anyway, so we had a spa this morning, and I was saying, you know, because I was talking about what I was going to do today. And I was saying it's so interesting because, you know, when we're magnet sensitive, it is like we're a magnet that is flipped. And if you're the opposite, you'll be attracted. But if we're all sort of humming, do you see what I mean? A sensitive would be repelled. Like that house, there was energy there. That was disrupting my signals. Let's just say it like that, because I'm not going to judge it as good or bad. Because when I started to look at the energies of the house and where it was and what was happening, I was like, where are the ley lines? Where are the ley lines of this? And I haven't really for the last 2 years done that. I used to walk the ley lines of the earth. That's what Gatekeeper does, looking and working with other gatekeepers around the world, in Egypt, in Japan, in Uluru, in Shasta, in England, and all the rest of it. And I walked those lines, right? I would find them with my hands. And I would have people behind me with the dowsing rods, right? The copper dowsers. And we would walk all over, you know, the UK and whatnot, finding these spaces and where they crossed over. And some are known and some weren't well known. right? Anyway, that's a whole nother story, but maybe I'll start telling some of those stories because they're pretty cool, around energy and the energy of the earth, and how it impacts us, but also why some places you're drawn to so much and some places you're not. And so looking at the grids of Hawaii and where these places are, I was like, oh, okay. With all of the planetary stuff and the time of the moon cycle and, you know, the time in this life, and we're going into March and April. People every year, not just this year, every year. Wait, you just wait. It's a powerful time. I mean, every time is powerful, like, you know, every day is, every single day. I'm going to sneeze, hang on. Bless me. Okay, in my house I have geopathic stress right under my bed. Well, you need to watch this. Go back and watch it. Deb, because you know all the things that I was talking about. Thank you. She said, bless me too. You know all the things I was talking about. So go back and watch this when you can. It's not necessarily, although you can shift the energy in that space, depending on what that is, like what in particular that is, that energy in your home, right? Like if it's a waterway, I remember, because years ago, this is what I used to do. Just my friends would say, hey, there's something going on at my friend's house and we don't know what it is. Can you come and have a look? And I'd be like, yeah, right. And it ended up, we just have, you know, afterwards we'd have something to eat and, you know, scare each other. Yeah, water, see, she said, was underground water. Yes. Well, this place, it was these young girls that were sharing this huge house. And when I say young, they're probably in their mid to late 20s. And my friend said, you know, there's all sorts of stuff going on at this house and, you know, blah, blah, blah. And I was like, oh, yeah, all right, well, let's, you know, have a girls' night. I'll come over and I'll just, you know, spirit whisperer extraordinaire, right? So before I even got into the house, I was like, oh, something here. There was water under the house. But it wasn't just water under the house, a waterway under the house. There were certain parts of the house that altercations had happened and the energy was there. So this is how we get ghosts. If you want to say ghost, I don't use the term ghost, I use the term energy, but it doesn't mean the person's dead. You can leave when something, you have trauma, you know, so there's something really scary in the house or around you or in somebody else's house or in the street or whatever, and you walk. If you're sensitive and ultra sensitive, if you've got no protection, right, no field, because it's been, you know, disrupted, you'll feel it. So now, that's why I said at the very beginning of this, there are certain things when I feel particular energy, I'll go do. It's like when I taste a certain taste, if I'm working with you, that taste has two, it'll be this or this. And that taste is the C word. You know, I don't want to say it in case they cut me off. Or long term, like medication long term, so chronic health. So it's those two, and they're sort of the same thing, but sometimes one's not C, right? It can be other long-term illness, but it's like I taste the medication, but it's a particular taste. So, you know, these are the things why I did medical intuitive work, because I would just pick that up in the field. So you all can, and you may not know it. So I would walk through this house and I'd say, you know, there's something here And they'd be like, yep, that's where we've been seeing stuff. And I'd be like, yeah, there's something in this room. There was, I think, 3 rooms in that house and a little bit down the stairwell. Like there was stairs, but it was like there's something happened in the stairs. And anyway, we ended up going into what happened there, and they were the places. So that was just fun. That's what we used to do for fun, right? So then it was up to them to go, well, do you want to clear that energy, or do you want to work with it, or what do you want to do? That's up to you, right? I was just there to say, oh yeah, it's here and here and here, and oh, by the way, there's a waterway going straight, under the house, which is no big deal, but it will, there's a conduction of energy there. And it can be awesome, or it can, it's like heaven and earth, water and fire. So it's not necessarily a bad thing. It's not a good thing. It's, how you're able to dance with those energies. So and I'll end with this, because we've been going a while. If any of that is going on for you, it's about aligning your system, right? It's not about getting rid of it. So think of it too, like, I say to people around me, when somebody's being a real, their energy is misaligned. Align the person's energies, right? And they'll be different. You know what I mean? Think about when you're humming, your best day. I don't know, maybe you haven't had some really good days lately. And why? What are your energies doing? What's going on in your physical body? What is that alerting you to? So sore feet, sore toes, ankles, swelling in the ankles, pain in the legs, dizziness, headaches can be connected to this. They can also be connected to a lot of other medical stuff, so go to the doctor if you're not sure. I am not a medical practitioner. However, when they tell you there's nothing wrong with you, then come back and we will look at it. Or try some of these and see if it shifts. Right? See if it shifts. If you have swelling, like even the anyway, I mean, you hear me, yeah? You hear me. I won't go on and on about it. So is there anything else that I talked about that I hadn't come right around? Is there, like, those of you that are on here that I can see, what have I missed, or are we good to, so just read it. I notice areas that make me feel different, but now wondering if I have been more sensitive than I thought since I get really tired at the computer. Yes, tiredness is, okay, so I'll end with this, thank you. I know you wrote this a bit ago, but I just saw it. So, what day was it? Sunday. Must have been Sunday. It's only Tuesday, isn't it? I think it was Sunday after we did our live. And sometimes after the live, after we've done the ministry, because we're holding the space, it can take a lot of energy. But I came off that and I was awesome, and we had something to eat, and then we went somewhere and I was good. I could feel stuff, but I was still strong, testing strong. But when I came back, I felt tired, like in the head, tired. I can't explain it. It's a certain type of tiredness. I get tired in the head. My body can be, but I'll feel it sort of around my eyes and in the head. And I was like, I'm going to test, see what's going on with the energy. And it was gone. It was gone again. So, those of you that have taken any of my classes, you know that we always start with something around connection to yourself. How are you? What do you feel like energetically, physiologically? Get used to who and how you are. Why? That's right, Lisa. I'm reading your mind. No, or maybe I am. Why? Because when you're walking through the world, or you're speaking to somebody, or you're at the computer and you start to notice, feel, sense, know a shift, you could say, oh, I just had a big day. I could have gone, oh, we just did the ministry, you know, and it was, it was after lunch. So, it's a big lot of the day gone. Yeah, of course, you're going to be a bit tired. But no, people, no. I do not get tired. I am the ever-ready bunny. Do you know that commercial with the rabbit? It's a battery commercial. And the ever-ready bunny keeps beating his little drum. And all the other bunnies stop beating their drum because their battery runs out. Anyway, I don't know if that's cross-culturally, but in Australia, that everyone knows the ever-ready bunny. So if I get tired, it's energetic. Everything is energy. If I get angry, what are my energies doing? If I get snippety cricket, whatever that is, what's my energy doing? If I feel heavy, what's my energy doing? It's not the other person all the time. What do? We tend to blame. Oh, it's the lights and all that. Yes, it is. And we can look after our own energies, and we can be the director. We can be I was going to say the navigator, the capacitor, right? So that we have the capacity for our nervous system to be able to experience more, even if it feels a little uncomfortable, and then correct that energy so that our capacity is now here. So I'm thinking of somebody, I'm talking to you. When you do something new and it feels uncomfortable, that's your nervous system. That's you expanding and your nervous system going, oh, there's something different. There's something going on. Do I have the capacity for this new information on top of all what I already know? And it starts to stretch. So your systems start to impact as if there is something scary, you get anxious or whatever it is. You feel the sensations of that. When you can acknowledge that, oh, of course this is happening because I'm doing something outside of my ordinary that is a little bit scary, and the reason I'm doing it is to grow, to expand. So rather than going, holy moly, you're going, here it is, I feel it, I sense it, I know it, it feels uncomfortable. How do I make sure that I'm connected to the earth, that I have the systems to support the expansion? Any of you on a spiritual journey, on your spiritual development, I think life is spiritual development, so whatever, but right? The understanding of what I just said will make your life so much more enjoyable, joyful, right? It will. because it's not about getting to somewhere so that you feel, there's nowhere to get. You already are. You already are all of that. Okay? What's preventing you from seeing and experiencing that directly are the fears. Are those sensations and constrictions that bring some fear or some doubt or it's all fears. All right. I'm going to sign off now. Did I come full circle on everything? I guess if I didn't, you can leave me a message. So I am going to say goodbye to Instagram. And if you just came on, you can go back and watch it. Also, where are we next? So we're live next Sunday. Those of you in Cloud, we've got Cloud this week, Cloud Odyssey. And anything else coming up? Oh, Trance. We're still running Trance. But if you want to learn more about dancing with spirit, connection with spirit, the next round is coming up, or in May. So you can get early bird if you want to go to Academy of Conscious Evolution, Academy for Conscious Evolution, and have a look at what's available now. And if you've got any questions, let me know. All right, so cheery bye for Instagram. Thanks for coming around. And I'll say farewell to Restream, and then we just have the inner circle for a short while. And yeah, until we meet again. May the blessings be.